Chapter 5 Winter Storm. As the cold dust embraces whole Equestria, determined Heaton and Dylan are put to rest. It's not numbers that win the war, must one find a way in the eye of the storm. December 12th, 2018. 10:45 out, 100 hours. Ponyville. It was a cold and cloudy morning. The fights between the ponies and griffins were escalating. There were days of triumph and defeat for both sides of the conflict. But as the leaves finally fell from the trees and snow began to cover Equestria, the ponies found themselves at a big disadvantage. They were not used to operating in this kind of weather. Usually at this time, with harvest already done and supplies stored in their houses, they would just wait for winter wrap-up day, where the winter would be switched for spring. That's how things always were in Ponyville. This time, however, the griffins would not allow them to rest. Moreover, they would use their conditions to their advantage, as they were hailing from mountain peaks, where temperatures were lower than on the ground. They were perfectly prepared to continue fighting. Should they gather enough forces to strike important locations, the war would end in their favor. But the harsh experiences in the past weeks have engendered a great spirit of teamwork in the ponies. Residents of Ponyfield appealed to the unicorns for Carolot to aid them in keeping the winter in mild state so they could carry on the fight. The request was accepted, as Princess Celestia alone dispatched about 20 unicorns to Ponyville. The royal sisters could easily take care of the winter in their region, and as the unicorns used their magic to aid the earth ponies, the fighting could resume at a regular pace. It was on this day that the Mirage Squadron learned a valuable lesson. 11:06 hours. Cloudsdale. Mirage Squadron Space. For that moment, nothing would require the squadron's help was happening, though. The 7 Pegasi were enjoying a brief break, with Derry demonstrating a muffin juggling, as he called it. For 10 minutes, she balanced her body, performed tricks with her favorite snacks. After she finished, all 7 muffins she was juggling were tossed in the air, and sent 6 of them towards her friends. The 7th landed in her mouth. Every pony applauded her, with Cloudkicker and Medley clapping the loudest. Firefly quickly consumed her muffin, remarking, "Not bad," and returned to missing control. It was important to keep track of the enemy movements, especially since the current conditions were ideal for them to launch a surprise attack. However, no such report came from Gale for the past few days. "It's strange that the Griffins are being inactive lately, don't you think?" Lightning Bolt pointed out. "Either they're preparing something big," Rainbow thought. "Or maybe they know what all to fighting to the winter and decide to give us a break," Medley spoke. Firefly's reaction was predictable. "Sir, and all the while they're sewing and stitching some warm clothes for us. Get real!" she yelled. "The suspense is getting to me. Wish something could happen." And it wasn't a few seconds later that Firefly finally received a message from Gale. She was a little disappointed, though, inside. And here I thought, never mind, it's still good news. "What is it, Firefly?" Rainbow Dash asked. The Pink Pegasus turned to her friends. "Gale just sent me a note. He says the Wonderbolts have regained consciousness. They're on their way to be fully healed." As expected, this message had put everybody in happy moods. Rainbow was especially relieved, but Firefly hadn't finished. "He also says he would like to speak with one of us, sort of clarify our existence as an official squadron, because so far we've been a mere substitute for them." She sounded kind of gloomy. None of Pegasus knew how to react to this. Rainbow approached Firefly and looked her in the eyes. When she spoke, her voice was full of pride. "A substitute? Maybe. But a great substitute at that. With us and the Wonderbolts flying together, we're going to win for sure. I'd go speak to them, if that's all right with every pony." No one opposed. They all knew how much Rainbow idolized the Flyers, and the news they were regaining consciousness definitely made her overjoyed, even though she didn't show it. After a few minutes of preparations, Derpy gave her 3 more muffins, 1 for each Pegasus. Rainbow then slowly left the base and started to fly to the infirmary where the Wonderbolts were given treatment. She was genuinely excited. She was going to speak of her idols ever since the Grand Gallery Gala at Canterlot. But at the time, she wondered how they would react when they would hear that a new squadron was formed by Pegasus was away from Equestria for the past 5 years. The blue Pegasus didn't let her doubts get to her at increased speed. She was approaching a big white building with a characteristic red cross on it, carved on its entrance. She took a deep breath and entered. 11:32 hours. Cloudsdale. Service Infirmary. After looking around for a while, Rainbow approached the reception and called the nurse. "Excuse me, I'm here to see the Wonderbolts." The mayor turned around and examined Rainbow. She questioned her for details of the visit, and a few moments later, she pointed to the end of the corridor, where their room was. Rainbow slowly walked there, receiving a glimpse of the other rooms along the way. Several of them had ponies lying asleep, some in bandages. They were undoubtedly hurt by the griffins. The blue Pegasus could tell it from one of the ponies' wounds on the back. Finally, she reached the room, knocked, and entered. Inside, she saw her idols resting in beds. Rainbow approached them slowly, trembling with emotions. Spitfire noticed and recognized her. "Hey, it's you. Rainbow Dash, isn't it? What brings you here?" Rainbow tried to regain her cool stature, but the pressure was too much for her to handle. She only lowered her head and didn't say a word. Spitfire asked again. "Why are you here? Shouldn't you and your team patrol Equestria?" Hearing this, Rainbow raised her head, surprised. "So, you know?" "Of course I know. Only a good flyer like you would manage to keep the griffins at bay until now. You and your team are doing a fine job. I look forward to flying alongside you one of these days." Rainbow didn't expect to hear that. She started trembling again and mumbling something to herself. The excitement and joy were blending together. Spitfire noticed it. "You look a little tense. Relax. Let me guess. You wish to see us under different circumstances, huh?" She tried to get up, but the pain suddenly stopped her. Spitfire hissed and laid back. Rainbow got closer. She saw the fiery main Pegasus was grinding her teeth, trying not to scream. "Are you okay?" "Huh. I feel better than back then, when we met those two griffins. It'll take us at least another 2 months to fully get back in shape." At this point, Soren woke up, nose picked the smell of muffins in Rainbow's bag. When he saw them, a huge grin formed on his face. As much as he liked pies, he would never pass by a muffin either. Rainbow handled one to each Wonderbolt. Spitfire then asked her question. "So, Rainbow, how does it feel to be captain of a squadron?" "Actually, Firefly is the squadron's leader. I'm second in command, but I don't mind," Rainbow said in a slightly disappointed fashion. "Firefly, you say?" Spitfire thought for a while. "I know I've heard that name before." Suddenly, Fireball spoke. "It's that pink Pegasus who used to pull crazy stunts all over Equestria. She even tried to join us at one point, much like you, Rainbow, but ultimately she abandoned the idea." This revelation surprised the Pegasus, so she went deeper. "Any reason behind your decision?" "Maybe there was," Fireball answered, "but she never said why she did it." Several minutes passed as Rainbow chatted with the Wonderbolts. She felt sort of honored, but it also didn't feel right speaking with them like this. She preferred to see them fully recovered and flying with them, protecting Equestria. Just then, her communicator gave it away a call. It was Firefly. "Rainbow, get to base! We got a missile assignment!" "Roger that!" Rainbow replied, turning to Spitfire. "Hey, let us stay chat, but..." "I know. Duty calls," the firing main Pegasus finished. "You guys have fun. If everything goes well, we'll join you in a few weeks." The blue Pegasus was just about to leave when he heard Spitfire again. "Rainbow Dash, let me give you a bit of advice. Don't hesitate. Never abandon your friends in need. Cherish the most you have with your wingmates. We won't be getting much of those in the coming days." She smiled and added, "Good luck." As Rainbow was flying back to base, her mind was swirling with emotions. The joy for being spoken with your heroes again, but also sadness and grief, seeing them beaten and incapacitated. She remembered what she may have vowed to herself to avenge them, and intended to keep her word. Soon after returning to base, she saw Firefly and the others ready to take flight. The blue Pegasus immediately joined in formation, and the Mirage Squadron took off in the direction of Shimmerwood, a beautiful forest on the west of the equestrian border. It was mostly populated with wild and harmless creatures, but Gale's latest reports indicated the Griffins planned to use the woods as one of their bases of operation, not bothering to spare the flora and fauna in the process. Of course, Firefly wouldn't allow that, and not just her. The feeling was mutual with the ponies. 1404 hours. Equestria, western border. Shimmerwood. The large trees that normally house numerous birds for no reason were already completely covered with snow. This change of environment proved effective for the Pegasus ponies, since they could spot griffins much easier. As they were approaching their destination, Lightning Bolt informed their friends that the estimated number of enemies in the region could be anywhere from 7 to 10, but Firefly was predicting there could be more of them, hiding or stationing nearby, ready to help their comrades should something go awry. When Mirage Squadron finally reached Shimmerwood, Medley took a glimpse around the sky and noticed the big dark clouds on the horizon, which were slowly approaching the woods, carried on the wind. "I don't like those," she confessed. "They could be a huge blizzard if they get there," Derby pointed out. "And the air ain't griffins here. We should beat them quickly." Cloudkicker had just returned from reconnaissance. As expected, the enemy was present, with 5 griffins trying to construct something that resembled a watchtower. Their group of 3 were flying around, acting as a warning against upcoming foes. It seemed to barely just arrived. Firefly decided to use this as an element of surprise, so he divided the squadron into 2 groups, taking Lightning Bolt, Fluttershy, Derpy with her, while Rainbow Dash was giving Cloudkicker a medley. They decided to fight the enemy and attack simultaneously for 2 sides. Upon arriving at their positions, they even got a glimpse of some griffins like Quasis talk.
Well, why know you what we're doing here, giant?
One of the griffins was building a watchtower directed that phrase to his comrade, who was wearing a green jacket. He turned around and heard the sarcastic comment.
Our job is to keep this region under control. This watchtower that you guys are building will help us gain information about ponies moving faster and with a decent precision.
The builder rolled his eyes, until not convinced.
Well, I don't get it. Chivalry's on the very edge of Equestria. That doesn't make sense one bit. Why can't we just perform a direct attack on the capital? Besides, we're wasting our time like this.
Jet approached him.
The general believes that this will prevent our food storage bunkers from being attacked. Once the tower's built, no way any pony could sneak through this border undetected.
We called them all the ropes.
Well, does the general fail to see this? A single concentrated attack would be more effective and time-saving.
The military executive.
Maybe, but that's his decision. We can't disobey him. Equestria, especially considering Black Star and Red Cyclone, are holding direct control over the army. They're the ones who's influenced our general's actions, and he trusts them completely.
The griffin sighed disappointment.
Well, I'll just still trust them. This entire concept of this war is just dumb. I can't find a word.
He exclaimed in anger.
I believe the word you're looking for is nonsensical.
Chet helped him.
Right, nonsensical. Besides, most of us were not interested in attacking Equestria anyway. What do you think those 2 troublemakers are up to? I don't know, but at least not now. But maybe they will eventually tell us. Now back to work,
he told the builders, who seemed to be slacking off a little. As the Pegasus ponies eavesdropped on the conversation, Fluttershy and Derpy began to question the actual point behind the Griffin's actions. It almost seemed as if this whole war was based solely because Black Star and Red Cyclone wanted it, for whatever reason they had. While they were whispering to their communicators with their friends stationed on the other side, precisely to her about it, Firefly squinted her eyes in anger. Even though she could not overlook the fact that their actions were not making sense. Like Jet said, if they wanted to conquer Equestria, they could simply strike at the capital and take it over, then proceed to slowly eliminate all forms of resistance, if any. It was bothering her deeply, especially since she heard the name Black Star. Felt something familiar about it. But seeing the watchtower almost completed, she ordered her wingmen to begin an attack. The Rod Squadron took flight, and the joint assault took place, probably soaring high and descending at the enemy's resistance at great speed.
May the sun and moon shine on us,
Cloudkicker exclaimed with excitement. While most of the griffins seemed surprised with the Pegasus' sudden appearance, Jet remained calm. He somehow knew their actions would not go unnoticed. With a grin on his face, he called on his radio for additional support. His lightning bolt smashed into the unfinished watchtower, knocking down some rubble, as he noticed the incoming reinforcements had called to the others.
5 more enemies approaching Vector 327. Watch yourselves, every pony. Don't worry, Rainbow replied. Kid and I got covered. Come on, let's get him.
Attacks bolt. Laws of that. Rainbow and Bentley went to class with the newly called griffins, as Firefly was overseeing the rest of the operation and aiding the squadron and slowly making their enemies retreat. Jet personally fought against her. He was much faster than the others, but the Pink Pegasus' agility was more than a match for him. As Derpy and Fluttershy were engaging a band of 4 griffins, the Grey Mare decided to use the environment to her advantage. Not only was she difficult to be seen in snow, she also decided to make snowballs and temporarily blind her opponents with a precise strike to the face. Fluttershy soon followed her tactic. It seemed quite effective. Cloudkicker took on 2 griffins all by herself. She seemed to be overwhelmed at first, but Lightning Bolt came to aid her. Within 30 minutes, the odds were in the pony's favor. Firefly had good advantage over Jet, and seemed to acknowledge her as a worthy opponent. He noticed his forces were becoming weaker, despite the reinforcements.
Tell me, he said to Firefly, what is it that drives you? What keeps you repel your offenses and fight with us like equals?
The Pink Pegasus didn't answer at first, but she glared at Jet and said, because you guys are ignoring 2 basic rules of war. Rule 1, Never underestimate your opponents. You think of us harmless, and now you're paying the price. Jet looked to the sky. He noticed dark clouds above them. They were about to cover the sun. I see. Perhaps you're right. Then let's see if you can prevail for what's to come. A surprise move, he seemed to arrest a Firefly, but instantly increased the altitude before he collided with her. Then he performed a somersault and braced to his communicator again. All units, leave the combat zone immediately. We're going back. At this point, he saw Lightning Bolt performing his shining spark on the watchtower. The immense force of the crash sent the wooden construction down into pieces. Chet wasn't happy about this, worried that their hard work might have been for nothing. Saw Firefly pouring before him all of a sudden. He stopped and he stared until he tears his eyes for a moment. The pink Pegasus unfolded her front legs, grinned and said, Rule 2. Numbers alone do not win the war. Not according to some people! You know who you are. Jet seemed clearly enraged, but he had to admit he was telling the truth. Yes, he tried to remain confident and said, Next time we meet, we shall fight to the end. I will not disgrace the Griffin Kingdom again. Saying this, he looked at the airspace with the other Griffins. As the ponies were cheering on their victory, Firefly was praising them for a job well done. Our communicator beat. Gale's calling her. Flask, come in. What's your situation? Relax, Gale. We took care of the Griffins. They tried to surprise us with reinforcements, but we drove them off. Anyway, we won't be seeing Simmeru anytime soon. See her Gale sighing relief. That's good to hear. For a moment, I was kind of worried. Well, you better get back to Cloudtail ASAP. There's a giant blizzard coming your way. If you're caught in it, you'll be having major difficulties. And why is that? Firefly asked. We can handle anything that comes our way. I don't know, but the problem is, Gale paused for a moment, your radars and communicators aren't perfect yet. If there's going to be a large interference in the atmosphere, they'll get jammed easily. You know they're only made for currently existing technology. Everybody heard that. Lightning Bolt in particular knew about this flaw, as he was tinkering with various electronics catastrophes before. This news wasn't pleasant from Ra's Squadron, but Rainbow Dash remained optimistic. Don't you worry, we'll be back at Cloudtail before dusk. Then I suggest you guys hurry up. Remember, during winter days are shorter. The sun will be setting in about 2 hours. Once you come back, report to me. Gale out. 1300 hours. Equestrian airspace. En route to Cloudtail. As the Pegasus were preparing to leave, snow began to fall. Harsher winds blew too. It gave the ponies some difficulties going airborne and maintaining balance. Firefly told them to stick together and fly in a double V formation so they could keep an eye on each other. Unfortunately, the blizzard was growing stronger with every moment. The blistering cold was slowly freezing their wings. Rainbow and Firefly could easily pick up speed to try to fly ahead, but they could not leave their friends behind. When the stronger gusts of wind blew in their faces, Medley and Firefly were knocked back and lost sight of the others. They tried to reach them through the radio, but all they heard was static. Rainbow Dash knew they were missing and flew to Firefly to report it. I'm going back to fly for them. What if you get lost in the storm too? I'll come back. I ain't leaving them. It seemed very dangerous. The squadron members will be separated from each other. Finding the others could take some time. While they would be searching, the Griffins could try another assault, but Rainbow had no intention of backing away. Reluctantly, Firefly allowed her to go and look for the two missing Pegasi. Once you find them, head straight for Cloudtail. Got it! The blue Pegasus split from the others. Drippy needlessly panicked that Rainbow would be lost. Firefly assured everything would be alright. The look on her face was worried, however. Firefly was not used to the sheer cold that was in the air. The howling wind only made things worse. She was unable to tell if Medley was aiming close to her or was carried somewhere else. Despite her stamina greatly lowering, she flew around, calling out Medley's name. The snow was smiting her in the face at the time. After a few minutes, she could barely see anything within 200 meters. Fear started to get to her. She was losing sense of direction. That was when she heard Rainbow Dash screaming her name at the top of her lungs. Fluttershy! The yellow Pegasus was relieved to see her friend. But when she told her that everything separated from Medley by the storm, Rainbow promptly dived down in hopes of finding her. Fluttershy followed her. That was when it landed. They almost got buried in a huge pile of snow. The wings weren't as effective now, so they tried to look for the companion on the ground instead. It took them several minutes before they stumbled upon the green Pegasus. There was an old tree nearby, broken probably due to impact. Medley herself looked very tired. It seemed she was about to pass out. Hi, Gus. What in trouble? Medley, are you all right? Fluttershy asked nervously. Sure, I'll just need some sleep. Don't worry, no biggie. I could try. Let's go back to Clydesdale. Medley could barely keep herself standing as he was mumbling. Rainbow and Fluttershy looked at each other. The yellow Pegasus had a nervous look on her face when he saw Medley could not bring herself to spread her wings and fly. They appeared to be numbed from the cold. We should find some place where we can get the wing for us to start to wear down a little, Fluttershy suggested.
Sounds good to me, but where? There are no caves around.
Girls, I'll mind it. We can't go back. Medley muttered, coughing a little. She seemed dizzy. We completed our mission. Let's go back. Her legs bent under the weight. Her eyes suddenly shut as she fell into the cold snow. She wasn't moving.
Medley!
Fluttershy cried. She tried to nuzzle her head and make her wake up, but to no avail. The wind kept on howling, and the cold increased its strength. Fluttershy tried to get Medley to move, and she wasn't giving any signs of life. Yellow Pegasus kept trying, though she was on the verge of collapsing too. Everyone saw her breaking down in tears, but was not giving up hope.
Pull yourself together, Fluttershy. We're gonna make it through!
She exclaimed. Yellow Pegasus calmed down a little. Rainbow Dash tried to pick Medley on her back. Rainbow, what are you doing? Fluttershy asked.
I'm taking her home. We ain't going back without her.
The blue Pegasus tried to take off, but Rainbow was pretty exhausted herself. She tried to push herself to her limits, but almost fell instead. Fluttershy noticed that the wind was slowly calming down, yet the blizzard continued. She approached Rainbow and helped her by taking Medley's lower body on her back. If I'll help you, Rainbow, we might make it.
But are you gonna be alright?
Fluttershy's eyes flared with rarely seen determination. When you see me with my friends, I'll do anything. Let's fly back to Clydesdale. Rainbow looked at Fluttershy with admiration and nodded. Together, the two Pegasi took off and were heading for their base. As the storm slowly died down, they could see through the clouds and snow much easier. When she finally left the Silverwood area, they were greeted as the setting sun. As its glow was giving off a crimson light, they felt Medley was briefly regaining consciousness. She looked at Rainbow. Oi, you all done to the storm. Her voice was weak. Rest easy, Medley. Fluttershy spoke with a gentle voice. We're going back, don't worry. The warm Pegasus responded with a gentle smile and responded before falling asleep. Like it. What's live with me? 17,400 hours. Clydesdale headquarters. Firefly was circling around the main room, nervous. The day was about to end, but her companions still hadn't returned. Cloudkicker was flying outside, trying to spot them. Gale was visibly worried, too. It would soon become too dark to carry out a rescue operation. Lightning Bolt was standing by the radar, trying to pick up signatures for Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy, and Medley, but no signals were detected for almost an hour. Derpy wanted to go and find them, for Firefly told her and everybody else to stay put and wait for them. However, the Great Pegasus stuffed her hose in frustration. That's it, I can't take it anymore. I gotta look for him. She tried to leave the room. No, stop where you are. They'll be back soon, I know it, Firefly exclaimed. She was getting very nervous and was about to leave herself. Then, everybody heard Cloudkicker screaming, I see them. They're coming back. Lightning Bolt confirmed it, as 3 blue dots appeared on the radar. They were all relieved that everything ended as well. As Rainbow Dash's far side landed, they carefully carried Medley inside. Initially fearing the worst, Gale told Medley simply passed out from exhaustion. He asked Cloudkicker and Derpy to deliver her to the Ceres infirmary. The others followed them. When they arrived, they heard the diagnosis from the nurse. They smiled in relief. Medley needed rest for several hours and warm herself before she could return back to Squadron's base. Rainbow decided to stay a little longer in the infirmary to speak with her. Upon entering the room where the green bear was lying, Medley woke up. As Rainbow greeted her, both ponies seemed glad to see each other, although Medley seemed a bit gloomy. Rainbow was smiling from ear to ear. She leaned in closer to the green Pegasus.
Gave us a big scare back then. You're like you're still alive.
Yeah, Medley responded. Rainbow was kind of sad. The blue Pegasus stroked her mane and giggled.
Hey, you did great. But next time, be more careful. Stay close to us, okay?
Oh, okay. Thanks again, Rainbow Dash. On the next day, Medley returned to her friends. They were overjoyed to see the green flyer back in good shape. Even Firefly praised their efforts, making her bless a little. All 7 Pegasi spent that day training and enjoying the beautiful sights of Equestria. It seemed like time had stopped for a moment. All that mattered for them now was that their friend was safe and sound.